For this woodworking idea, I'm going to use the palm router with its plunge base. I removed 2 screws diagonally from the plastic base. And look at this. I took out these screws. I will replace them with these longer ones. I'm also going to use these bearings. You know my trick is to fit a nylon plug tightly inside them. Better to use one of those with a lip at the entrance. I cut it, leaving it slightly protruding. When tightening the screw, it should fit snugly in there. And it should stick out a few millimeters in front of the nylon plug. Now I'm going to add 4 washers. Notice that the washers do not reach the outer ring. This way, when tightening the screw, the washers won't block the outer ring. To install them on the base, it's easier to first place the washers and fit the nylon plug with the screw inside. The screw should be long enough to secure the bearing properly when tightened. Look, the 2 centering bearings are securely fixed to the base and turn perfectly. With this straight bit, I'm going to mill 2 mortises in the wood strip. One here, and another at one end of the wood strip. Let's see how precise we can be. As you can imagine, when placing the router base like this on the wood strip, if I rotate it, pressing the bearings against the wood strip, the spindle axis will be aligned right above the center of the wood strip. There you can see how the bearings work. The centering mark on the base is not centered, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that the vertical line of the router's spindle axis is centered with the axis of the wood. I'm going to set up the palm router now to turn this into a plunge router. I center it on the wood strip, I lower it until the router bit touches the wood and lock it in place. I bring the depth stop to one of the turret screws and adjust it to route to the desired depth. In this case, initially, 1.5 centimeters. This is now set. Let's adjust the position where we will route the mortises in the wood strip. First, this one. I need to adjust the side stops. And in this one, the problem will be that the bearings move outwards from the sides. On that side, there's little room, but I can place this woodworking clamp with its plywood pad. On the other side, I can place a stop with a woodworking clamp. Now I have to keep the bearings pressed against the wood strip while routing from side to side, firmly, but without excessive force, and avoiding the base from lifting, as the bearings could slip off the top of the wood strip due to a wrong movement. One thing I don't like about this router is that you have to press the power button with your finger to turn it off. It's not one of those triggers that turns the machine off by itself when you release it. That's why you need to be even more careful with this one than with a regular router. I am going to increase the depth a little. There it is, a perfect 2 centimeters deep mortise. Now I'll do the other one. This other piece of wood strip has the same thickness and the same height. I'll join them between 2 narrow wood strips, one on each side. The lateral wood strips are narrow enough to allow the bearings to go on the outside, and therefore help center the router base. I adjust the side stops by moving the edge of the router bit to the marks for the size of the mortise I want to make. And I am going to route the 2 centimeters in depth by making several passes. They turned out perfect, or so it seems. I'm going to measure to see if they're well centered. There, I can make a good mortise and tenon joint. And there too. When measuring, this one is off-center by only 1/10 of a millimeter. Almost nothing. But in the other one, we have almost a millimeter of difference. I guess the side wood strips I used weren't as identical as I thought. Okay, my opinion about this woodworking idea. It's easy to apply and works quite well, but I didn't feel entirely comfortable because you have to be very careful to keep both bearings in contact with the wood strip. And I feel that if I apply too much force to keep them pressed against the wood strip, it's easier to move the router incorrectly and make the bearings slip out. The method also has the advantage of forcing me to stay very focused on the work I'm doing. Thanks for watching the video, and if you like my videos, subscribe and hit the bell.